Hello, welcome to Rando Tech Info, and today we're going to be testing the screen brightness on the Galaxy S22 Ultra to see just how bright it actually is. Samsung claims the screen brightness on the S22 Ultra can reach a whopping 1750 nits, which does sound impressive. It's certainly the brightest screen on a phone I've ever heard of, and if their claims are true, it should be brighter than most TVs and computer monitors as well. However, context matters, and to be honest, I'm not really sure how bright 1750 nits actually is. I know it's bright. I know in the past 2 months with the 22 Ultra, I haven't had any issues seeing the screen even outdoors, but I have a feeling you have come looking for a little bit more information than that. So to provide some context and give you a better idea of just how bright the screen on the 22 Ultra is, I've compared it to the screen brightness of a bunch of other phones from the past and present, including the S21 Ultra from last year, the Pixel 6 Pro from last year, the OnePlus 7T from 2019, the Pixel 2 XL from 2017, the original Galaxy Note from 2011, and my recently purchased Kindle Paperwhite. This should give you a nice idea of how the S22 Ultra measures up, not just against other modern mobile devices, but also against some displays of the past, to see just how far our screen tech has come. For this test, I used my fancy schmancy Lux meter to test each screen's brightness. For each device, adaptive brightness was turned off and screen brightness was set to max. And I took several readings for each device, taking the brightest reading for the result. Now before we take a look at the results, it's worth keeping in mind that a Lux reading is a sliding scale of illuminance. Basically what that means is something that has a Lux reading of 600 won't necessarily appear 2 times as bright as something with a Lux reading of 300. If you want a more detailed explanation about how all this works and the differences between terms like Lux and nits and lumens, I will leave a link to a really nice video by Antonio the Optometrist down in the description. He does a much better job of explaining this than I would. And if you find all this information to be useful, I'm sure Antonio and I would both appreciate it if you gave both of our videos a thumbs up and sub to our channels.
I don't consider it.
Okay, let's look at some results. So out of the 7 devices we tested, the original Note was the dimmest, and since it's also the oldest, this isn't much of a surprise. The Kindle Paperwhite didn't fare much better, but since it is just a backlit e-reader, that result is also not surprising. It should be mentioned though that the Kindle can still be seen in the brightest of conditions because it is an e-ink device. The next device on the list is the Pixel 2 XL. Once again, this isn't surprising considering it's the second oldest smartphone on the list. It is worth noting, however, that the Pixel is considerably brighter than the Note, probably largely because it is a 6-year newer device. The next device on the list is a surprise. The S21 Ultra from last year provided a lower Lux reading than both the Pixel 6 Pro and the older OnePlus 7T. I do feel like this phone is capable of getting brighter than this when I'm outdoors, but in the controlled environment I used for the test, 586 lux was the highest reading I could get for the S21. The next brightest device was the OnePlus 7T from 2019, followed by last year's Pixel 6 Pro. And while the Pro is technically brighter, you would be hard-pressed to really notice a difference between the two. And finally, we have at the top of the list the S22 Ultra. As I said at the beginning of this video, I knew the 22 Ultra was bright, so this result isn't surprising. I was a little surprised, however, at just how much brighter the 22 was than the Pixel 6 Pro. I spent a few weeks using the Pixel, and I don't remember having any issues with its brightness or using it outdoors, so I think what the result tells us is the Pixel 6 Pro and the 7T aren't poorly lit devices at all. It's just that the 22 Ultra screen is exceptionally bright, at least when it's maxed out. And just so you know, there is a setting on the S22 Ultra to ensure you get the maximum brightness out of the display. When you go into the display settings on the phone, when you turn off adaptive brightness, a new option appears, creatively named Extra Brightness. Only after toggling on Extra Brightness can the S22 Ultra achieve its maximum eye-melting visibility. Full disclosure here, I've been using the 22 Ultra as my daily use device for the past 2 months, and I have never found it necessary to turn on this feature. I do think the S22 Ultra most likely has the brightest display on any phone available today and probably one of the brightest screens you will find on any electronic device anywhere. How useful you think that is, or if it's something that will influence your next smartphone purchase, is obviously up to you. But if you are someone who really appreciates a well-lit display, then I think you will be very satisfied with the S22 Ultra. Well, that's all the information I have for one day. If you know about a phone that can challenge the S22 Ultra's luminary dominance, please feel free to leave the name of that device down in the description so we can all learn from each other and make more informed buying decisions. As always, I hope you found this video to be useful. Thank you for watching, and until next time, this is Rando Tech Info, signing out.